In the next moment, the Xuanling king disregarded the other battles and slightly raised his finger, sending a violent strike toward Xiao Yan's location. Ha ha ha, kid. Feel the embrace of death. A destructive beam, fused with the power of life and death in black and white, shot toward Xiao Yan with overwhelming, annihilating force. 7-layered Skybreaker Ruler. 7 strikes in a row. Xiao Yan furrowed his brows as he saw the attack, clearly feeling the terrifying power contained within, even from a great distance. Whoosh! Whoosh! 7 massive beams of light, each 100 feet long, poured down from the ancient ruler of heavenly flames, and as they surged, they began to merge into a single terrifying beam of light, 1,000 feet in length. In a few breaths, Xiao Yan's 1,000-foot beam and the Xuanling King's black and white finger beams collided gently. Whoosh whoosh. Waves of terrifying ripples capable of destroying even a 7-star Do-D or an 8-star Do-D erupted from the point of contact. The stalemate didn't last long. Xiao Yan's 1,000-foot beam suddenly dimmed and was completely pierced by the black and white beam, which struck Xiao Yan directly. Thud. A mouthful of bright red blood was forcefully expelled from Xiao Yan by the overwhelming blow. If it weren't for the immense weakening of this life-and-death attack by the 7-layered Skybreaker Ruler, Xiao Yan, at his current mid-7-star Do-D strength, would likely have been obliterated by this strike. Struck by such a blow, Xiao Yan's breath slightly stabilized, clearly worn down both by the Xuanling King's attack and the energy consumed by using the 7-layered Skybreaker Ruler. Ha ha ha. I want to see how many times you can resist. The Xuanling King laughed, clearly enjoying the situation. Xuanling hand. The next moment, the Xuanling King leaped into the air, pointing at Xiao Yan. As soon as his words fell, an enormous blood-red hand slowly appeared. Xiao Yan had faced the Xuanling hand before, but never had anyone used it with such strength as the Xuanling King. Heavenly Dome. First finger. Second finger. Third finger. Xiao Yan gritted his teeth as he stared at the attack that could easily destroy him. His deep eyes suddenly closed, and an extremely terrifying fluctuation surged from within him. Boom, boom, boom. The two forces collided again, but this time, Xiao Yan was still the one injured. After all, the difference in their power was 4 great levels. Thud. A fresh burst of blood sprayed from Xiao Yan, his face growing incredibly pale. This guy's power is strange. He's clearly human, but the power of the extraterritorial evil clan within him is so dense. It might even have the taste of the blood demon envoy. Despite his weakened state, Xiao Yan kept analyzing. Xiao Yan knew that his last trump card now was the 2 sacred flame crystals. However, the sacred flame crystal from the ghost-faced soul flame could only be fully activated after slaying the blood demon envoy. The last half of the blood demon envoy had mysteriously disappeared, and Xiao Yan's previous attack was meant to confirm his guess. The reason the Xuanling King possessed such dense power from the extraterritorial evil clan was because he had consumed the blood demon envoy. It seems it's true, only that method remains. Although it's a little hard to accept, but Xiao Yan muttered, his resolve suddenly surging. Xiao Yan had previously tried to merge the powers of the 2 sacred flames, but they had been resisted. The source of this resistance wasn't the sacred flames themselves, but the heavenly flames within Xiao Yan's body. Thus, Xiao Yan speculated that if he wanted to successfully merge the sacred flames, he would have to completely expel the heavenly flames from his body in order to perfectly fuse them. Kid die. The Xuanling King, seeing Xiao Yan constantly on the defensive, seemed to have lost his patience. A faint red evil aura continuously spread from his feet, and a killing move capable of slaying even a peak Do-D began to brew. Only by detonating the origins of 23 heavenly flames can I completely expel the resistance the heavenly flames pose to the sacred flames. But this is a gamble. After expulsion, there will be no heavenly flames left in my body. If the sacred flames can't fuse then, Master Tawasha, please help me, Xiao Yan whispered to himself, then hesitated no longer. Xiao Yan, what are you planning to do? That thing is absolutely not possible. Seemingly sensing Xiao Yan's resolve, Kai Lin suddenly spoke up. Is there a better way? Xiao Yan asked. Temporarily. No. But you still have other things to do, and if you do that, the price will be too great. Kailin said. I won't let anyone around me fall before my eyes, unless they step over my dead body. Heavenly Flame Plaza, come out? Xiao Yan grunted suddenly, and immediately, a massive plaza over several hundred meters in size appeared before him. What is this thing? The Xuanling king couldn't help but hesitate as he looked at the sudden appearance of the plaza. With his perception, he could faintly smell the scent of flames from within the Heavenly Flame Plaza. The power of these flames wasn't as strong as the sacred flame, but they couldn't be underestimated either. Ranked 23rd on the Heavenly Flame list, Chaotic Yellow Flame, take your place. Ranked 22nd on the Heavenly Flame list, Myriad Beast Spirit Flame, take your place. Ranked 2nd on the Heavenly Flame list, Void Swallowing Flame, take your place. Heavenly Flames from the Forest of Corpses, take your place. With Xiao Yan's continuous command, one after another, flames of various colors surged out from his body and attached themselves to the enormous stone pillars of the Heavenly Flame Plaza. Humph. Kid, no matter how many tricks you play, you can't escape death today, Xuanling King said bitterly, continuing his attacks without hesitation. Ha ha ha. Xuanling King, if you want to take my life, then I'll send you a great gift in return. Heavenly Flame Power, explode, explode, explode. Xiao Yan looked at the 23 types of heavenly flames appearing before him and, though reluctant, shouted out loud. For the sake of the sacred flame and the lives of his friends, he had no choice but to explode them. What? As Xiao Yan's voice fell, an overwhelming surge of energy, as vast as the sky, suddenly compressed within the Heavenly Flame Plaza and then erupted with incredible force. Self-destructing heavenly flames? Big brother, you? Little E, standing beside him, couldn't help but shout in panic as she felt the power of Xiao Yan's drastic action. For Xiao Yan, these heavenly flames were like his life, and detonating 23 of them would undoubtedly come with severe consequences. Let him do it, Longy said calmly. Heh, good boy. I never expected this guy to actually figure it out. Heavenly flames are powerful, but they can't contain the rules of this great thousand worlds. Only the sacred flame can help you reach the peak, while the heavenly flames are just an obstacle. Give up the heavenly flames and obtain the sacred flame to truly transform. Break before you stand. The overwhelming power gained from detonating the heavenly flames might seriously injure the Xuanling King. The Devourer of Souls laughed, observing the scene. Ha ha ha. Xuanling King, enjoy the gift I've sent you. Xiao Yan, having severed his connection with the heavenly flames, detonated them all at once. As a result, Xiao Yan's strength plummeted to the level of a 5-star Do-D, with no remaining trace of heavenly flame power inside him. This little brat. The Xuanling King looked at the flames, which contained properties of devouring and freezing, simultaneously exploding. A hint of fear surged into his heart. Boom, boom, boom. The eruption of 23 heavenly flames. Such a move. Only Xiao Yan could possess this kind of courage. Within the altar, a world of flames, like an apocalyptic inferno, slowly took form. Boom, boom, boom. Waves of fiery heat, like a world-destroying tidal wave, surged toward the Xuanling King. Ah! Damn little beast! Under the extreme heat of the flames, the Xuanling King couldn't help but roar. Clearly, although these heavenly flames weren't as powerful as the sacred flame, the mysterious power contained within each of them was enough to make the Xuanling King suffer greatly. Xiao Yan. Seeing Xiao Yan in such a weakened state, Kailin's beautiful eyes were filled with a trace of sadness. It was clear that the Xuanling King, capable of forcing Xiao Yan to detonate all his heavenly flames, was indeed formidable. On the other side, after the explosion of so many heavenly flames, Yan Qi, using the terrifying force, temporarily regained his consciousness. Where am I? Yan Qi murmured, his voice filled with confusion. Brother. Just as Mu, who had been worried about Xiao Yan, heard Yan Qi's words, her tears burst forth like a dam breaking. Ying, don't cry. I'll take you home, Yanqi comforted her. As his words fell, he glanced around, only to find Xiao Yan in a state of utter exhaustion. What happened? Yanqi couldn't help but ask. Brother, you came from the Blood River? Mu Ying began to explain. Xiao Yan, looks like... Yanqi sighed as he heard the explanation. As soon as his words finished, the three of them were drawn to the extreme. Intense heat waves in the sky. Ha ha ha. Little beast, I didn't expect you to have this kind of ability. You've really surprised me. If it weren't for the power of the Blood Demon Envoy, I'd probably be dead by now. But after detonating so many flames, you must be suffering, right? Waves of massive, blood-red evil energy completely replaced the ghostly aura and death force around Xuanling King. His face twisted in anger as he roared at Xiao Yan. You lunatic, so it was really like this? Once the flames, the remaining power of the Blood Demon Envoy was indeed devoured by the Xuanling King. At this moment, the Xuanling King appeared quite disheveled, his clothes torn and ragged. Through the fabric, one could vaguely make out an evil figure slowly materializing over his chest. This was the Blood Demon Envoy. Madness? Everything is just the survival of the fittest, Xuanling King said without the slightest concealment. If he hadn't wanted to show Xiao Yan and the others his feast of devouring flames, they would have already become the souls under his command. Moreover, the Blood Demon Envoy had already been completely devoured by Xuanling King, though his illusory figure still lingered at the king's chest. But it's time to end this. Die. In the next moment, the Xuanling King charged directly towards Xiao Yan with incredible speed that left onlookers speechless. Second brother. Second younger brother. Xiao Yan. Long E, Little E, Kailin, and Mu Ying all exclaimed in worry. Just as the four of them were about to rush to help Xiao Yan, they were stopped by the powerful figures of their respective masters, their pupils turning bloodshot with anger. Who? Sooner, Kailin. I may have to break my promise. Xiao Yan gazed at the figure of Xuanling King, which was gradually enlarging in his sight, as a crazy thought echoed in his mind. Xiao Yan, you dare. Xiao Sun and I will never forgive you. Kailin, at this moment, unleashed her tin-colored power, yet she was still unable to break free from the pillar's restraint. She couldn't help but roar at Xiao Yan. If you ever get the chance to go back, tell Xiao Sun that I wasn't a good father. And tell my father and teacher. I'm sorry, Xiao Yan said, and suddenly his smile turned eerie. Then, a mysterious blood-red symbol appeared on his forehead, swirling and spreading. His entire body exuded an aura of a flame king. Is he going to self-destruct? Don't. Mu Ying noticed something and screamed in panic, tears streaming down her face uncontrollably. Self-destruct? You won't get the chance. Since you've ruined so many things for my Xuanling royal family and killed many of my disciples, you will pay with your life. Xuanling King finished speaking, his figure appearing like a ghost next to Xiao Yan. He raised his blood-colored, evil-laden hand and gently slapped down at Xiao Yan. Ha ha ha. Xuanling King, even if I die, I will never let you have it easy. Let's go to hell together. Xiao Yan roared. At that moment, his aura suddenly surged, and he was on the verge of uncontrollably exploding. The entire altar suddenly became much colder, and above the altar, a full moon slowly appeared. The moon seemed to contain mysterious waves, and not long after, a graceful figure flew out from above it. Why so impulsive? Weren't you supposed to wait for me? A soft, ethereal voice reached Xiao Yan's ears. Then, Xiao Yan felt the turbulent dou qi in his body being suppressed, and his body was gently embraced by a figure. Who are you? Xuanling King, seeing the sudden appearance of the figure and the mysterious moon above the altar, couldn't help but ask the figure before him. He is my benefactor. Hurt him, and you will die. The newcomer gently placed Xiao Yan back on the ground. A ray of bright moonlight energy entered Xiao Yan's body, temporarily stabilizing his injuries. Then, the figure shot up into the air, releasing an extremely terrifying fluctuation. Is that Yue Ru? Literally couldn't help but murmur as she saw the figure that appeared at the crucial moment. With her power, it seems she has successfully inherited her legacy and reached the Do Xian level. Long Yi commented, "You have the aura of the Jiao Yu fairy." Xuanling King, being well-versed, quickly detected the pure moonlight aura on Yue Ru. "She is my teacher. But you, a mere outsider from the extraterritorial evil clan, have no right to mention her name." Yue Ru's beautiful eyes flickered, and a murderous intent erupted. "How dare you? This Xiao Yan, flirting with every woman, is more detestable than me." The Devourer of Souls muttered under his breath, clearly displeased by Yue Ru's interaction with Xiao Yan, and their relationship was certainly more complicated than it seemed. "Since that's the case, I'll capture you and force out the power of the Jiao Yu fairy. This will be a great help to me." Xuanling King laughed without a trace of doubt. "Then let's see if you have the ability." Yue Ru retorted with a playful tone and immediately launched an attack.
Alas!
Xiao Yan, temporarily saved by Yue Ru, sighed. How come everyone around him was so much stronger than him? The power of the sacred flame. Yue Ru, don't engage him head-on. Strike that shadow on his chest and leave the rest to me. Xiao Yan still had his final move, the fusion of the sacred flame. As long as he could eliminate the blood demon envoy, he would be able to unleash it. Though he wasn't entirely sure, Xiao Yan had vaguely deduced from the flame mantra that once he combined with the power of the sacred flame, even the Xuanling King wouldn't be a match for him. "All right," Yue Ru responded, though slightly puzzled. Still, facing a formidable opponent like the perfect one-star Do Xian Xuanling King, she dared not lose focus. "You, Xiao Yan, are being too reckless." Xiao Yan stepped forward, and Kai Lin couldn't help but playfully scold him. Evidently, had Yue Ru not shown up, and Xiao Yan been forced to self-destruct, Kai Lin wouldn't have stood by idly. Even at the risk of serious injury, she would have tried to save him. Heh. Xiao Yan grinned, not saying a word. "There's still a fierce battle ahead. Restore your strength for now," Kai Lin suggested after a moment's hesitation, aware that the presence of so many powerful entities under the Xuanling King's control likely hinted at a larger scheme. Currently, Xiao Yan's power had temporarily dropped to the level of a 5-star Do D due to detonating the 23 heavenly flames within him. However, little E, now transformed into a fire spirit born from the fusion of many heavenly flames, was unaffected by the depletion of Xiao Yan's flames. "As long as I can kill the blood demon envoy, I'll have the strength to finish off the Xuanling King. Let's hope that the fusion of the two sacred flames can grant me," Xiao Yan muttered, swallowing a medicinal pill with confidence. Meanwhile, in the sky above, the Devourer of Souls and Xian Song continued their standoff. The 10 other Do Xian warriors were trapped within the Blood River Bell, while Long Yi and Little Yi were locked in a fierce, evenly matched duel. "Didn't expect you had some tricks up your sleeve," Xuanling King remarked, pausing after a few exchanges with Yue Ru. Something about the strength radiating from this woman perplexed him. By typical measure, she was only in the early 1-star Do Xian stage, yet she could stand toe-to-toe with him. After all, Xuanling King had devoured the blood demon envoy, retaining some ghostly qi within him, along with his mastery of life and death forces. With these 3 formidable powers combined, no one should be able to withstand him so easily. "Your sins are countless. Today will be your day of reckoning." Lunar slash. Yue Ru didn't waste words. She raised her hand, and a delicate, radiant moonlight gathered around her palm. "What is this power?" Xuanling King's gaze fixed on the glowing light in Yue Ru's hand, a sense of unease stirring within him. "Enough tricks. Prepare to die." In a flash, Xuanling King's form swelled as a surge of blood-red malevolent energy erupted from his palm, hurtling toward her. The Xuanling King has absorbed the blood demon envoy's power, enabling him to wield that force. But such devouring has hidden dangers. If he's not careful, the blood demon envoy could backfire on him, observed the Devourer of Souls with a dark grin. But once the Xuanling King falls, this extraterritorial evil clan energy will be a feast for me, especially with the soul-devouring talisman. Boom, boom, boom. Yue Ru's hand, radiating moonlight, transformed into a delicate short blade. Etched with mysterious crescent patterns, It glowed softly as she lifted it, aiming to strike the Xuanling king. That blade, it's no ordinary weapon. Likely a relic of Jiao Yu fairy, Xiao Yan noted from below, while tending to his injuries. Through his heightened perception, he sensed the formidable energy within the blade. Energy that even a perfect one-star Do Xian might struggle to counter. Crash! Oddly, the blood-red malevolent energy halted upon contact with Yue Ru's short blade, almost as if it feared her power. Bang bang bang! Yue Ru's expression turned cold as she tightened her grip on the blade, forcing Xuanling King to retreat. Little girl, you're testing my patience. This strike will end you. Xuanling King, seemingly wary of Yue Ru's strange weapon, growled as he spoke. At once, waves of blood-red energy coalesced around him, taking on a solid form. Perfect timing. Yue Ru smiled slightly, her beautiful eyes softly closing. At that moment, a radiant full moon hovered above the altar, casting an ethereal glow. Jiao Yu! Yue Ru uttered with a playful pout, her beautiful eyes suddenly opening wide. At the same time, a mysterious crescent moon pattern, identical to the one on the short blade, flashed brightly on her forehead. Silver moon bow. Not long after, a silver bow formed from pure moonlight slowly emerged from the mysterious symbol above Yue Ru's forehead. Swish swish. As the silver moon bow appeared, Yue Ru's aura seemed to transform, making her resemble a celestial fairy who was far removed from the mortal world, exuding an air of solemnity. Good heavens, she even learned the signature technique of the Jiao Yu fairy. The silver moon bow is a formidable weapon even among celestial artifacts. The Devourer of Souls also commented, "Blood demon swallowing heaven, fall before me." At that moment, Xuanling King's attack was finally complete. Without any regard for what Yue Ru was doing, a blood-red, gaping maw opened wide around him, devouring Yue Ru in its path. The overwhelming evil energy, if touched by even the slightest bit, would likely cause one's mind to shatter. Yue Ru, you can't be hurt. Xiao Yan clenched his fists tightly, his gaze fixed on the battle unfolding in the sky above. Just as Xuanling King's blood-red evil force was about to strike Xiao Yan, Yue Ru made her move. Silver moon bow. It's been so quiet for so long. It's time for you to shine. Silver moon bow. Yue Ru muttered to the exquisite celestial bow in her hands. As Yue Ru whispered, the silver moon bow seemed to understand her intentions, humming with excitement, sending joyous vibrations in response to her command. Let me activate you, Yue Ru said with satisfaction, her delicate hand gently resting at the center of the celestial bow, pulling as if to draw the string. Ha ha ha. Don't even mention the silver moon bow, it has no string, and yet you dare try to defeat me. Die. Xuanling King sneered as he looked at Yue Ru's actions, laughing mockingly. Boom boom boom. No sooner had Xuanling King's voice faded, the blood-red energy swirling around him opened its monstrous mouth, swallowing Yue Ru whole. It's over, Xuanling King said with a shake of his head, looking at Yue Ru, who offered no resistance, his voice filled with delight. Not yet, but within the blood-red energy, which had engulfed the sky above the altar, a sliver of pure moonlight still protected a small space. Within that space, the exquisite silver moon bow glowed with an aura of divine power, slowly drawing in the strength of countless full moons, its sacred arrow gradually taking form. Silver moon bow, go. Yue Ru called softly, releasing her grip as the sacred arrow, filled with unparalleled divine energy, flew toward Xuanling King like a horse unleashed from its reins. Where the silver moon bow passed, all evil energies were swept away. This strike was truly a deadly blow. Damn! Xuanling King immediately realized that Yue Ru had not been completely annihilated by his attack, and without hesitation, dark ghostly chi, blood-red evil energy, and black and white life and death forces appeared around him, forming three immense energy barriers. Even Xuanling King could sense an immense threat from Yue Ru's strike. Swish swish swish! Despite Xuanling King's efforts to defend, the silver arrow tore through the evil energy above the altar, sweeping it away in an instant. Its speed then increased drastically, shooting directly towards Xuanling King's position, as if unstoppable. "Block it!" Xuanling King roared, looking at the unyielding silver moon bow as it neared. In a few short breaths, it had shattered all his defenses, and he shouted, strengthening the three forces around him. "Xuanling King, it's time to end. No one can survive the silver moon bow's strike." After releasing the arrow, Yue Ru's aura fell into exhaustion, clearly showing the immense toll that seemingly effortless shot had taken on her. "I don't believe it." Xuanling King's words were cut off as the silver arrow slowly struck him. First layer. When the arrow reached 10 meters from Xuanling King's body, its speed suddenly slowed. Xuanling King had set up a ghostly chi barrier 10 meters out, an evil energy barrier at 5 meters, and a life and death barrier at 3 meters. Thud. The outermost ghostly chi barrier shattered with a snap in mere moments, failing to stop the silver arrow. With the first barrier broken, Xuanling King's expression darkened, and the silver arrow, its momentum unyielding, surged toward the second barrier. Hold it off!" Xuanling King roared, seeing the arrow approach the second barrier, unable to stop it. Swish! The silver bow and arrow had always possessed the ability to suppress the evil power of the extraterritorial evil clan, a force that had existed since ancient times. Using the power of evil as a shield, the Xuanling King was essentially courting death. The final layer. Xiao Yan, Ying, and the others below all had heavy expressions on their faces. They knew that whether or not the silver bow and arrow could injure the Xuanling King depended on this final strike. Rumble. A terrifying wave of life and death energy continued to pour out from the Xuanling King. Clearly, he had learned his lesson, realizing that the ghostly chi and evil power around him could not resist the sacred energy of the silver bow and arrow. Only the life and death energy he cultivated could counter it. Buzz buzz. The silver bow and arrow initially radiated an overwhelming aura, but after breaking through 2 barriers, its momentum sharply waned. When it faced the Xuanling King's final layer of defense, it even felt as though it was powerless to break through. "Ha ha ha. You're all finished. I'm not only going to devour the sacred flame, I'll devour all of you as well." The Xuanling King sensed the sudden weakening of the power in the silver bow and arrow and laughed maniacally. Sigh. Seeing this, Long E, Little E, and Ying all shook their heads. Clearly, even such a powerful attack had been futile. "It's not over yet. We can't give up." Seeing this, Yue Ru gathered a brilliant lunar energy, pouring it onto the silver bow and arrow. Crack! In the next moment, an astonishing crack appeared on the Xuanling King's life and death barrier. Impossible! The Xuanling King's earlier joy turned to shock as he saw the crack growing visibly larger in the black and white life and death barrier 3 meters away from his body. His face turned as cold as ice. Facing the relic of the Jiaoyu fairy, the attack from the silver celestial bow forced even the Xuanling King to take it seriously. Impossible! 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 The Xuanling King howled as he stared at the growing crack in his barrier. "Xuanling King, it's over." Silver bow and arrow, power of annihilation. Seeing this, Yue Ru let out a relieved sigh. She gave a playful shout, and the silver bow and arrow broke through the Xuanling King's life and death barrier and struck him heavily. At the same time, amidst the massive crowd of 9-star Do D and 8-star Do D that Long E and Little E were dealing with, a figure suddenly shot toward the Xuanling King with such speed that Xiao Yan and the others didn't notice. Boom! As the silver bow and arrow struck the Xuanling King, a ray of apocalyptic twilight slowly spread from the center of the explosion. The energy ripple from the explosion could easily kill any weaker human experts. The earth-shattering explosion lasted for about 3 minutes. During that time, the Xuanling King's aura weakened to the extreme, and no one noticed it, as if he had completely perished. However, after the explosion, Xiao Yan sensed the pure fluctuation from the ghost-faced soul flame, sacred flame crystal, indicating that the Xuanling King was not dead but severely wounded. The signs were unmistakable. It was the mark of the blood demon envoy's residual power being completely eradicated. From now on, the ghost-faced soul flame belonged to Xiao Yan, and he was quite pleased. Phew. Finally, it's over. Not long after, Yue Ru carefully put away her short sword and silver moon celestial bow, then made her way to the altar below. Xiao Yan, are you all right? As soon as she reached the ground, Yue Ru returned to her lively and cheerful demeanor. I'm fine, Xiao Yan responded, seeing how strong Yue Ru was. And these people? Yue Ru's gaze turned to the three figures bound on the three evil pillars nearby. This is... Xiao Yan was momentarily taken aback by Yue Ru's question. He couldn't just tell her, like he had with MultiSubs, that this was his wife. I am Xiao Yan's wife. Kai Lin gave a slightly sideways glance at Yue Ru, and realizing this woman was not only strong but also incredibly beautiful, she quickly asserted her claim. I'm Xiao Yan's partner. MultiSubs spoke softly. Wife. Yue Ru's smile faded upon hearing Kai Lin's cold words. The word wife carried so much weight. Sorry, I should have told you this earlier. Xiao Yan nodded silently, then apologized. But you clearly... Yue Ru, still processing the immense information in a short time, pointed a finger at Xiao Yan, feeling a pang of sadness in her heart. It doesn't feel right. Although the silver moon bow of the Jiao Yu fairy is powerful, it probably doesn't have the ability to kill the Xuanling king with a single strike. And if the Xuanling king were truly dead, these people should have returned to normal. The Devourer of Souls, observing the unchanged expressions of Xian, Song, and his subordinates, felt a surge of fear rise in his heart. He quickly shouted, Xiao Yan, be careful. The Xuanling king isn't dead. Go die. The words of the Devourer of Souls had barely fallen when a voice, cold and commanding as the king of hell himself, slowly echoed across the entire altar. Then, a gigantic black chain suddenly shot up from beneath the altar, rapidly extending toward the defenseless Yue Ru with the speed of death. Be careful. Xiao Yan had been keeping a close eye on the altar surroundings. The moment he saw the chain appear, he rushed to Yue Ru without a moment's hesitation, pushing her away from the chain's attack range. To protect Yue Ru, Xiao Yan was struck directly by the chain. However, his pupils contracted as he caught sight of two overlapping figures at the spot where the sky had exploded earlier. Impossible. The dark chain pierced through Xiao Yan's body in an instant, and a large pool of blood flowed from his chest like a small stream. Although Xiao Yan had managed to avoid the vital spots, the strike still caused him great pain. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Xiao Yan. Seeing Xiao Yan's plight, MultiSubs, Kai Lin, and Yue Ru all cried out in panic, their eyes filled with pain and sorrow. Yue Ru, without thinking about anything else, immediately rushed to Xiao Yan, her cries of anguish echoing as tears streamed down her face. She blamed herself for his injury, feeling that if she hadn't been lost in thought just moments ago, perhaps Xiao Yan wouldn't have been so gravely hurt. Everything was her fault. Ha ha ha. I didn't expect the silver moon bow to be so powerful. If it weren't for the shield, I might have been seriously injured. A sinister laugh rang out from the sky as the Devourer of Souls taunted. Damn it! That Xuanling king has mastered ghostly qi, evil power, and the power of life and death. Even a 2-star Do Xian would struggle to handle him. The Devourer of Souls muttered. Xuanling king. Yue Ru raised her head and glared at the Xuanling king with a look that seemed capable of devouring him alive. At this moment, Xuanling king's voice was filled with malevolent intent, and before him stood a familiar figure. The vice-captain of the Wolf-Eagle Legion, Elder Zhua. Elder Zhua appeared weak, as though on the brink of death. His chest bore a distinct wound, the result of the silver moon bow's earlier deadly strike. Thud. Xuanling king tossed Elder Zhua's lifeless body aside, letting it fall from the air like a discarded corpse. Elder Zhua had sacrificed himself to block the fatal blow from the silver moon bow, and now, he was completely dead. Xuanling king, on the other hand, had taken no damage, except for the shattered shadow of the blood demon envoy in his chest, struck by the silver moon bow. I truly underestimated you. Not only have you cost me a powerful 9-star Do D aid, but you've also shattered the shadow of my devoured blood demon envoy. Xuanling king spoke like an exalted ruler, looking down at Yue Ru with a mocking smile. Despicable, you're still alive? Yue Ru held Xiao Yan, her power gathering to heal him, her fury growing. Next, I'll make you taste the storm of hell, Xuanling King declared, raising his hands high in the air, his overwhelming power surging. The entire altar seemed to tremble in response as power after power rushed toward him. Boom, boom, boom. As Xuanling King launched his attack, waves of blood-red death ripples spread throughout the altar. This guy, Yue Ru murmured, preparing to act, but she was startled by what happened next. Leave it to me. Xiao Yan forced himself to his feet, and a glowing cyan flame crystal appeared in the air. Whoosh! The moment the crystal appeared, a terrifying ghostly flame erupted from it, easily incinerating the black chain that had pierced Xiao Yan's chest, reducing it to nothingness. This? Ghost-faced soul flame? As the flame appeared, Yin Qi couldn't help but roar in shock. This isn't enough. Watching the blazing power of the ghost-faced soul flame, Xiao Yan's lips curled into a dangerous smile. A wild thought surged through his mind. At this moment, this was the only way. Otherwise, everyone here might die. Come forth. With Xiao Yan's command, the entire sky once again reverberated with a series of crisp explosive sounds. 2 holy flames? Impossible. The power of the sacred flame can only gradually reveal itself once one reaches the 9-star Do D level. However, it can be said without hesitation that those who possess the sacred flame must be feared even by the strongest of their level. After all, the power of the sacred flame is far from ordinary. This guy, what is he planning by summoning 2 types of sacred flame powers? Mu Yingying and Yin Qi exchanged a glance, clearly bewildered. Even though they wielded the sacred flame, they had never heard of 2 different sacred flame powers coexisting in one body. I've heard that the divine mantra, flame mantra, confused different sacred flame powers, thereby creating even more terrifying strength. I remember that when the Tuasha ancient emperor used 3 sacred flames, despite only being at the early 3-star Do Xian level, he was able to forcefully kill a 4-star Do Xian expert, and with the flame mantra, he eventually became one of the strongest in the Great Thousand Worlds, the Devourer of Souls slowly said. In contrast, Long Yi and Little E were struggling to handle opponents at the 8-star and 9-star Do D levels. They were barely holding on, and if they hadn't been desperately holding their ground, they would likely have already lost. But the Devourer of Souls, on the other hand, was rather at ease. Had it not been for the Golden Dragon King's instructions when he left, forbidding the Devourer of Souls from intervening even if Xiao Yan faced this tribulation, the Devourer of Souls' current strength, combined with the power of the soul-devouring talisman and blood river bell, 2 demonic weapons, would have been enough to obliterate these early 1-star and 2-star Do Xian experts in an instant. Yue Ru, give me 3 minutes. After Xiao Yan summoned 2 sacred flame crystals, he didn't waste any time and immediately spoke. Is it dangerous? Yue Ru couldn't help but ask. It is dangerous, but it's worth it, Xiao Yan said with a slight, conspicuous smile, despite Yue Ru's concern. As soon as his words fell, 2 sacred flame crystals, a yellow-brown one and a cyan one, appeared in Xiao Yan's palm. From the 2 crystals, an extremely terrifying flame power slowly emerged. In the next moment, Xiao Yan's gaze tightened, and his teeth clenched. A look of resolve appeared on his face as he focused on the 2 sacred flame crystals in his palm, which were emitting destructive power. Ignoring the gazes of those around him, he immediately brought the 2 crystals closer together. Madman! Absolutely crazy! Seeing this scene in the sky, Xuanling King's face trembled. Even though Xuanling King had gathered countless pieces of information on the sacred flame, none of them mentioned that sacred flames could be fused together. The sacred flame was like the king of flames, each one wild and untamable. If 2 sacred flame powers were to merge, Xuanling King could only guess one outcome. The body would explode, and the person would perish in an instant. I've already paid the price of igniting 23 types of heavenly flames. If merging these mere sacred flames doesn't work, that would be rather amusing, Xiao Yan said calmly, gritting his teeth and enduring the intense repulsion between the cyan and yellow-brown flames that were gradually drawing together in his palm. Flame mantra, spin for me. Feeling the increasingly chaotic power within the two sacred flame crystals, which seemed ready to erase Xiao Yan from existence at any moment, he couldn't help but roar. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As Xiao Yan roared, the flame mantra inside his body began to circulate rapidly. With the flame mantra's operation, the repulsion between the two sacred flame crystals started to subtly weaken. Bang, bang, bang. A muffled groan escaped from Xiao Yan's mouth as the repulsion grew stronger with each passing moment as the two sacred flame crystals drew closer. I hope you're okay, Yue Ru said, her eyes fixed on Xiao Yan as he desperately fought. She stood up and rushed toward Xuanling King, hoping to buy Xiao Yan the 3 minutes he needed. You despicable guy. Such reckless actions will only benefit me in the end. Seeing Xiao Yan's mad actions, Xuanling King raised his hand high, determined that he must strike to eliminate these people once and for all. Otherwise, he was unsettled by the mysterious black mist in his battle with Xiansong. Xuanling King, there's no escape. As Xuanling King looked at the battles around him, his subordinates were all held in check by their opponents, leaving Xuanling King unable to summon any other strong forces. He could only concentrate on preparing a devastating attack, while retreating from Yue Ru's range of assault. This guy still loves to show off, Kai Lin muttered, watching Xiao Yan's desperate struggle, shaking her head slightly. Sacred flame crystals, detach. Sacred flame essence. Soon, Xiao Yan's voice rang out again. Whoosh! With a roar, the yellow-brown sacred flame crystal and the cyan sacred flame crystal in Xiao Yan's hands suddenly vanished, leaving two crystal-clear liquid puddles on his palms. The two puddles of liquid quickly transformed into two balls of fire, and as the cyan and yellow-brown flames erupted, a sinister, eerie sensation began to fill the air, even distorting the sky itself. Whether this succeeds or not depends on this moment. The moment his voice fell, two seeds of sacred flame's essence began merging. Boom! As the azure flame and earth-yellow flame touched, a dull hum resonated from their center. At that moment, despite the protection provided by his flame mantra and Do Qi, blood began seeping from Xiao Yan's hands, torn and raw from the strain, giving the scene an intense, almost brutal atmosphere. Xiao Yan's expression remained steady, knowing that fusing sacred flames was far more challenging than fusing heavenly flames. Gritting his teeth against the searing pain in his palms, his flame mantra surged through him, driving his willpower as traces of both azure and earth-yellow flames flickered within his pupils. From his eyes, now glinting with both blue and yellow, an ominous, terrifying aura slowly radiated. As the two colors alternated, giving off an unsettling, eerie effect. Clash! The two flames continued their relentless clash within his hands, but Xiao Yan gritted his teeth and pressed forward, disregarding the immense, resistant force generated by the two flames' natural rejection of each other. His hands, unwavering, drew the flames ever closer. Now, only 5 centimeters separated the two flames, a tiny gap standing between Xiao Yan and a complete fusion. Yet those mere centimeters felt like a mountain, forcing him to marshal every fiber of his being, each soul force and ounce of Do Qi, just to make the smallest progress. While battling Yue Ru, Xuanling King kept a keen eye on Xiao Yan, who was feverishly working with a maniacal intensity. Xuanling King was curious. If Xiao Yan succeeded, it would indeed be a feat unparalleled in history. Confident in his own inevitable victory, Xuanling King couldn't help but let his curiosity hold him back from attacking, preferring to observe what Xiao Yan might achieve in this unprecedented attempt. Hurry! Time's running out! Xiao Yan roared, his gaze lifting momentarily to Yue Ru above, whose aura was fading fast. Finally, through sheer grit, the azure and earth-yellow flames converged without resistance, merging at last. With the resistance gone, Xiao Yan's hands bled anew, crimson trails streaming down as he'd given everything to ensure the flames met seamlessly. But the moment they touched, a faint backlash rose, and his flame mantra immediately redirected a steady flow of Do Qi to keep the volatile fusion stable. Gradually, he began compressing the two flames. Thump, thump, thump. As the fusion process continued, waves of energy surged back to Xiao Yan, hitting him hard. Even though the sacred flames had merged, the power of his flame mantra alone wasn't enough to fully control them, and each time the combined flame reached a critical point, a counterforce rebounded, forcing him to cough up blood. Yet the fused energy became even more potent, wild, and volatile. Regardless, Xiao Yan bore it all, intensifying his focus as he compressed the flame's power further. Xiao Yan, stop. At this rate you'll die. Mu Yingying, feeling the unruly nature of the fused flames, cried out in concern. If he continued, Xiao Yan might truly meet his end. Trust him, Kai Lin murmured, seeing Mu Yingying's anxiety. Thump, thump, thump. More powerful shockwaves pounded Xiao Yan from within, weakening his aura and paling his complexion. Almost there. Despite the fierce recoil, Xiao Yan finally glimpsed the success he fought for. In his hands, the two flames were melding into one. A delicate azure and yellow lotus bud took shape, floating before him. Come forth, the lotus of life and death. With a hoarse shout, channeling every last drop of his soul power, Xiao Yan roared with all his might. As his shout echoed through the altar, the entire world seemed to darken, and even the winds held still in awe of this devastating strike. Gazing at the exquisite lotus bud in his hands, Xiao Yan's eyes blazed with intensity. He didn't pause. His fingers, glowing with Do Qi, poured his entire essence into the azure yellow lotus. His Do Qi, born of the flame mantra itself, streamed into the lotus, charging it. And as the energy poured in, the once quiet azure yellow lotus bud flared, releasing blue and yellow flames that pulsed and danced around its form. Xuanling King, let me give you a taste of this grand gift. Xiao Yan glared fiercely and hurled the blue-yellow lotus seed, which had been catalyzed by his flame mantra and was now in an extreme state of frenzy, directly at the position where Xuanling King was located. Around the death lotus, two colored flames, blue and earth yellow, slowly circled, rapidly shooting toward Xuanling King. As they passed, no spatial ripples or disturbances were created at all. However, it was precisely this understated aura that caused the previously invincible Xuanling King to go mad, with even the hairs on his body standing on end. The death lotus, infused with the primal power of two sacred flames, contracted violently when it was about 50 meters away from Xuanling King, then suddenly exploded outward. In that instant, a deafening explosion, powerful enough to shake the heavens and the earth, rang out from the altar and echoed through the sky. Boom! The destructive energy spread like a tidal wave from the sky above Xuanling King. Even the massive mountains surrounding the altar were annihilated into nothingness under this devastating force, and the evil and ghostly aura that had wrapped the altar in a mysterious barrier also shattered into dust with this single strike from Xiao Yan.